What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, and today it's time to talk mounted combat. Mounted combat has been in the Pathfinder beta here for a while, basically the entire time. However, I have waited for quite a while to show it because the animations weren't in. Like, technically, on a mechanical level, it worked. However, it just looked ridiculous, so I chose to wait until it was a little more ready to actually show people. Though that said, up until this point, mechanically, it did function as intended. So before we jump into the actual combat itself, we need to talk about a few things. One, how do you go about acquiring said mount for mounted combat? Well, basically, you need to be playing, for starters, a class that actually gets access to an animal companion, because that is going to serve as your mount. However, any old animal companion will not do the trick here. So you have to have an animal companion that is at least one size class larger than you are. For most characters, that's going to mean you need a large size class animal companion. Most of them start at medium. Some of them start as small. So if you're playing a medium character and you pick a small size animal companion, such as the velociraptor or I believe like the wolf or the leopard, when it hits level 7 and gets its size class increase, it's only going to go up to medium, which means you still won't be able to use it as a mount. However, if you were to say like a halfling or something that has a small size class, then you could use those as a mounts because it would be one size class larger than you once it hits level 7. Now, if you want to use mounted combat from the start of the game with a regular medium-sized person, then you should probably go ahead and grab the horse if it's available, as it starts as a large class and thus can be used as a mount right at the start of the game for your regular medium character. Now, the other half of the animal companion side of this is that animal companions in Wrath of the Righteous are customizable. They get a small selection of animal companion archetypes to choose from, such as Daredevil, Bully, Racer, Wrecker, and basically these just give your animal companion a couple of combat maneuvers to work with. Racer makes them faster, Bully gives them trip and bull rush, and moreover you can select things for them like their weapon focus, which for your animal companion would be one of their natural weapons such as bite, gore, or claw. And on that note, it's important to understand which type of attack your specific animal companion does, which it will usually tell you when you pick your animal companion. For instance, the Triceratops does gore attacks. Now, lastly, before we actually get into the actual mounted combat here, there are a couple of feats that you can take to make your mount a little more stable in combat. Now, everyone gets access to these, and it's Indomitable Mount and Mounted Combat. So mounted combat is the important one because it allows you to take a mobility check when your mount would get hit in combat, and if you succeed that mobility check, your mount just negates the hit altogether, which is going to make your mount, and your animal companion for that matter, much more survivable in combat if you can consistently make those checks. Because that said, the only class that like specifically goes after like all in on the mount stuff is the Cavalier, which I have videos about if you're interested in those archetypes. We're not really going to go over them here. But the Cavalier gets a bunch of class features that affect the regular combat maneuver charge. Now, charge is an ability everyone gets. However, for the Cavalier, when they use that mounted, they get a bunch of bonuses to it that make it really effective for mounted combat. And on that note, because somebody might ask, a lot of the Cavalier abilities specifically mention having a lance. It is my understanding that in this game, which will not have lances, those abilities are supposed to instead use spears. At least as of right now, that's my understanding of it. Alright, so with all that out of the way, once you actually get in game here and you have your animal companion, as soon as you get your animal companion, you'll get an ability called, mount. And you'll be able to mount your companion if you can. If you can't, it just shows a red X and it won't let you do it. However, once you are able to, you can just click your mount and you will mount, and it is a toggle ability, so toggle it off to dismount. The way this actually works, like as you're playing though, while your character is on their mount, they aren't actually one unit. They'll get the bonuses from your feats if you have them, but otherwise, despite being, moving as one unit, they will still continue to operate separately of each other. That is to say, your mount and stuff will still follow its irregular AI pattern as well as your character, which will allow you to, use your animal companion to, say, move around the battlefield, use its combat maneuvers, and then, say, your actual character either do its regular attacks or spells or archery, whatever you happen to have set up for your character. They will still be able to operate independently despite moving as one unit. But beyond that, it's pretty much just standard combat. You're just mounted. And again, the Cavalier class gets a lot of extra bonuses to things like their charge attack that will give them a lot more in terms of mounted combat, or at least able to use it more efficiently. But if you pick up that mounted combat feat, all of your characters should have a more survivable mount if they have good enough mobility. So there you go, guys. Nothing like outrageously in-depth or anything. I just wanted to show how mounted combat actually worked, kind of show it off a little, because I know it's a feature everyone's looking forward to. So with that out of the way, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.